Hello and welcome to CSS Hero version 3.1. Today we're talking about responsive editing. Now, responsive design is changing the look of your site based on the size of the screen. So as you can see me making the window smaller, you can see how the site changes. You can see the menu dips from seeing all the buttons to being a mobile menu. You can see some of the font size changing in the footer here. You can see it gets a little bit smaller when the screen gets really small. But that's responsive design. Take a look at the top right-hand corner when you're in the visual mode here, and you can see where it says all devices. Editing mode is all devices. Take a look at these numbers. You can see 1024, 768, 568. What this is saying is, essentially, we're going to apply code that will affect screens that are a maximum of 768 pixels. So if you make a change up here, if you say, okay, for all tablet landscape and below, we want to make some changes. Or if you only want to make a change on the very, very smallest of screens, you don't want to do it on these bigger screens, 1024, 768, blah, blah, blah. You only want it to happen on the very smallest screens, 320 and below. Then, whichever one you want to do, then you'll click on that and you'll make that change. So let's do that. Let's make a change only for mobile portrait. We'll make this font size bigger. There we go. Looks ridiculous. So that's not going to change on mobile landscape. It's only going to change on everything that's below 320 pixels. In fact, if we look at our code right now, you can see media screen and maximum width is 320. So everything below 320 is going to get that code. Now, if we would have done that instead, let me get rid of this. If we would have done instead tablet portrait at 768 and below, then what we find is as we change the font size on this guy, it also affects mobile landscape because that's smaller. There it is. And it also affects mobile portrait. There it is. But it doesn't affect tablet landscape because that's bigger. 1024 is bigger than 768. So let's go up to 1024. And now you can see, oh, there's that small little guy again. So when you're looking over here, please keep in mind that whichever one you choose, it's going to essentially affect that maximum size and every screen smaller than that size, okay? So that's how we use these different versions. Now, instead of going through every single one, let's say you want them all to be, or you're fine with them all being the same because you basically have like a desktop version and then you have just like a kind of a more mobile version or just a smaller version. What you can do instead, let me get rid of this code here. What you can do instead is when we're in all devices up here, we edit. And as we change the font size, you can see what happens is these three dots pop up. This button right here, large screens only, will essentially keep that change that we just made to show on the largest screens and none of the mobile screens. So this is an easier way. It's a cleaner and leaner method to get two different versions of your CSS, whether it be changing colors or font sizes or whatever it is. One version for desktop and then one version for your mobile screen. So let's click large screens only. And now this should only show up when screens are very large and it should not show up when screens are small. And there we go. So you can see that change only shows up when screens are desktop size. So this is an easier way, potentially, depending on how you want to set up your site. It's an easier way to basically get those two different versions quickly. When you're making a change, you're saying, okay, for big sites or for big screen sizes, I want to allow the font size to be very big because they have a huge screen. But I only want that to happen if they're looking at it on a desktop computer. Great. Click the three, or just roll over the three actually, and then click large screens only. And now that size of text will only show up when they are on the biggest of screens. It won't show up when they're on mobile. It'll look regular on mobile, but then it'll be really, really nice and big for desktop. So thanks for tuning in. I hope you learned something today, and I will see you in the next video.